Susan, how far are you on the experiment assignment?
About halfway done. How about you?
I've barely started. I know what I'm going to do the experiment on, but I haven't really elaborated on any of the details yet.
What are you going to do it on? The amount of Jolly Ranchers someone can eat in an hour?
It's not funny. Actually, I'm doing it on elevators.
Don't you mean a lift?
I'm trying to see if people will face the door, the elevator, if the first person to go into the elevator is facing like what we consider the wrong way.
Well, for my superior experiment,
Debatable.
I'm going to ask students what their GPA is, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressful their school life is in general.
How should I separate my control and experimental groups?
You could always separate them by men and women.
No, Susan! That would be selection bias. Because their sex would be into different groups, like males and females, instead of a random mix of them in each group. Come on, dude. Just randomly separate them into their groups. Randomly.
Well, are there any other biases you need to worry about?
I know I definitely don't have to worry about maturation bias because the experiment will only last one day. So I don't have to worry about it because, maturation bias is the possibility that mental or physical changes will occur in the participants that might affect the results. But I won't have to worry about that in my short experiment.
Oh, thank goodness.
Okay, well, do you have any biases you need to worry about? The psychology teachers are really strict on that. I think they might have a bias.
I'm gonna make sure that nothing happens during the survey process that might temporarily affect stress level. Otherwise, I'll have a history bias to deal with. I want it to be a good representation of how GPAs are related to stress altogether.
Good for you. I'm honestly worried about regression bias. It's a mathematical bias where extreme scores will become more average as trials go on. But I'll just have to make sure that the control group has the same measurements and they're conducted at the same point of time.
Okay, that's a good point. But what if the subjects somehow know about the experiment and they change the way they stay in the elevator?
Well, that's demand characteristics bias, and it can be tough. I'll have to do my best to deceive the participants, or stop, or I'm doing good. That's demand characteristics bias, and it can be tough. I'll have to do my best to deceive the participants, or I could give them a post-experimental questionnaire.
Well, that's a really good point. I think I could use that to prevent demand characteristics bias in my own experiment. I'm scared that the people who do my survey will change their answers because they might not know why I'm using the information.
Why are you using the information?
Hi, student. Have a great day.
Ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
Bye, student. Have a great day. Let's see what these kids turned in this time.
It's like they get worse every year.
Oh, look at this. Little Susie has experimenter bias. I couldn't be more disappointed in her. She says that she's going to be the person who stands in the wrong way of her little elevator situation. If she ends up carrying out this experiment, then she's going to unintentionally affect the results. She should have used double-blind experiment.
Amateur. Honestly, Susan has so many biases in her. It's honestly disturbing.
What has she done now?
Well, for one, she says she's going to edit the survey that she uses each time she tests a group of people. And how sad. This opens her up for instrumentation bias, because the instrument she's using to measure the dependent variable changes between measurements.
I know what instrumentation bias is, Suzanne. I'm a psychology teacher.
Well, Suzette should have standardized the survey. It's ridiculous. I mean, can you believe kids do things?
Okay, but is there any testing biases? That always gets them.
No, there's not. If she gave students the survey twice, the action of taking the survey the first time will not affect the results of the second time they took the survey.
But if it did, I would recommend that she uses counterbalancing to fix that issue. Works like a charm.
Thank you for that helpful insight, Suzette. Anyways, I'm worried about his experimental morality. What if there are people who drop out of the experiment after? What would she do then?
Well, I would say that she should inform the participants beforehand about what exactly they're signing up for. That way, it'll be more reliable and they won't leave in the middle of the experiment.
I know how psychology works. I teach it too.
Hey, Miss Suzette, what's my grade?
We're grading it now.